These two boxes of Rallyman are jam-packed with possibilities, and it's my intention to highlight all of the interesting things you can do with them. This is Shakedown. In today's Shakedown, we return to the Principality of Monaco to see if it can withstand having an awful lot of variant rules thrown at it, as we bring yet more stages to life. Rallye Monte-Carlo is not for the faint of heart. Treacherous conditions can see your car plunge down the side of a cliff in the blink of an eye, but some days you might want to challenge yourself in such an environment. In video gaming that's easily done, here in Dirt Rally for example, but how about Rallyman? How detailed can we get when we combine some of the components found in the Monte Carlo expansion with all this community content we have available? How much of the Monte Carlo experience can we bring to the table? We've seen glimpses of the Stage Life rules scattered about in previous videos, but now we're going to explore Stage Life version 2, complete with dynamic weather rules and stage-specific characteristics. Combine these rules with NPCs across multiple stages and we can recreate the Rallye Monte-Carlo in more detail than ever before. But will we find out if there is such a thing as too much detail? We've got a 3-stage, 3-driver rally today, and other than winning, our aim is to see how well the expanded Stage Life rules work, especially when it comes to dynamic weather, which Rallyman Dirt has difficulty with out of the box. We're going to split our stages into 2 legs, the first of which begins with Sprint on Monte and concludes with Route de Turini, both of which can be found in Bart's Dirt Rally 2 roadbook, though we will substitute the climb expansion tiles for some similar tiles from 110%. Both of these stages will have the cliffs characteristic applied to them as per the stage-specific characteristic rules, and that means that if we lose control and crash on a red danger level tile, we're probably retiring from the stage, having sent our car down the side of a cliff. Luckily, we'll end the leg with an assistance tile to make any necessary repairs before an overnight rest period where we'll let the weather do its thing. The second leg has just a single stage, La Baleine by Val'Ambrosio, found in their Dirt WRC collection, and by this point in the rally I hope I've picked the right tyres for the road ahead, because there's no other stage to make up for any lost time. This stage has the dirty characteristic applied to it, so some of the corners will already have mud tokens on them, and once we cross the finish line we'll total up the stage times to know who the king of Monte Carlo is. We're up against just 2 NPCs, but they are the hardest difficulties of reigning champion Thierry Neuville and looking for yet another Rallye Monte-Carlo win, Sébastien Ogier, who I believe has picked up more than a couple of World Rally Championships of his own as well. Before each stage, we're all going to roll for some Stage Life events and randomly determine which one to apply from the available results. Just like the driver traits, sometimes these Stage Life events won't play any part in a particular stage either, and that's fine, so long as I get the useful ones and my opponents don't, of course. We're all in R6s, but we do have the option of asphalt, snow or soft tyres. We'll only have one opportunity to change our dashboards before the final stage, and it may be the weather that determines what we pick. Let's quickly take a look at the weather rules then. We're going to start in partly cloudy conditions on space 4, but the forecast is unstable and could go either way. Instead of checking the weather every other turn like in GT races, we're going to check the weather at set points during the whole of the rally weekend, which are usually when the lead car passes into a new sector of a stage, which we'll be showing using the Joker gates from the RX expansion. At the end of stage 2, we'll check the weather again for there being an assistance tile, and then 3 more checks to simulate the overnight rest period before the final stage, because the weather doesn't stop at night, does it? The actual weather conditions that affect the stage will depend on which space the weather token is moved into, and what surface we're racing over. The road might get too hot for our tyres to work efficiently, or too slippery for them to grip at all, and when we least expect it, we might even be caught out by the sun in our eyes, or a crack on the windscreen hampering our view of the stage ahead. All this and much more is possible, but we have no way of knowing what will happen until we get out there and experience it firsthand. Thierry Neuville has the honours of being the first out on track. We'll be at the back, and with that, let's see how this Monte Carlo rally will unfold. Thierry Neuville has randomly rolled Shortcut Splatter for his Stage Life event, but did not draw a mud token, so the stage ahead remains as clean as a whistle. He's opted for asphalt tyres and finishes in 4th gear before the first hairpin, and again in 4th a space before the next. Sébastien Ogier is also on asphalt tyres, but is set for a wayward wheel. He finishes in 3rd gear before the first hairpin. Thierry is going to want to slow down for this hairpin. He is in 4th gear. Unfortunately for him, he's going to bog himself down, isn't he? So he wants to go as far down the track as he can, and that will be dropping into third, braking into first, and then going towards the inside in second there. Not ideal for him as he gets a bit gummed up through the hairpins. Thierry is unlucky at the end of that turn, so he's going to draw a damage token, and it is going to be a loss of a coast die. Sebastian Ogier manages a fourth gear finish before the second hairpin, and it's now our turn to tackle the stage. We too are going for the asphalt tyres. These stages are just too long for the softs, especially with the amount of rallying we've got to do before we reach an assistance tile. And our random stage life roll is alarmed animals. So we're going to encounter some animals jumping out of the bushes on tile 3, where Thierry currently is. Let's see then how we can get there. It's going to be a few turns, of course. I think we're going to copy what Sebastian Ogier did. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then a couple of coasts to put us into third gear. We're going to go flat out to try and give us some seconds back on the clock. We've got 5 seconds for going flat out there, and a third gear finish. Thierry is next. He's in second gear. He's lost a coast die, and he's about to go through the Joker gate that we are using to denote a sector on the stage. And when he goes into a new sector, we're going to check the weather. So let's see what he rolls first. That is a whole lot of nothing. He's in second gear. He wants to be over here in third gear. He won't have enough coast to get around the outside, so he can't stay in fourth gear to break down into second. So he wants to be over here in third. To get there then, he needs to go through into second gear like this. And at this point, we're going to check the weather. And that will be a 5. Now the weather is highly unstable, and on a 5, it doesn't move at all. So it is still a cloudy day. That means that Thierry can coast through the corner and then get into third gear. Sebastian Ogier then, with a full set of dice, is going to drop down to second gear, coast around the outside into third, and then into fourth on the entry to that corner. I'm going to go flat out, breaking down to first gear and then exiting into fourth before the next hairpin. That'll be 2 hazards. We finish in fourth gear. Back to Thierry, and he has got a reroll of this die and this die, and he's gotten rid of 2 hazards. So he is in third gear because he wanted to go down to the inside in first. That will allow him to coast out. He can go into second gear like that, through the shortcut in third, and then come all the way out here in sixth gear. Although that will slow him down around the outside of that corner thanks to the loss of a coast die. So I think he probably just wants to end in fifth and see how his luck fares. Let's have him do that then. We are going to draw a shortcut token, and that will be okay. And we're also going to roll to see if he is unlucky, and he is. So he is going to take more damage. He has gotten a green flag. Lucky for him, no damage on this occasion. Next up, Sebastian Ogier. What does he want to do? Let's have him break down to second. He can coast through. I think he's going to go third, fourth. He probably wants to coast again. Now, he does have to lose something, so that means that his spare tyre is what's going to be lost as it falls out of the back of his car. So he does still have 2 coast dice, but he now has no way of repairing any coast die damage until he gets back to the assistance tile. So the animals have emerged, and we are soon to encounter them. We are going to go around the outside of this hairpin in second, and then get into fourth gear like that. Do I want to go flat out on those dice? They're not terrible until they roll a load of hazards. It hasn't happened yet. We get 5 seconds back for going flat out and a fourth gear finish. Thierry decides to slow down through the next few corners, ending in first gear and bringing on another weather check. A roll of 0 moves the die 2 steps closer to wet weather. There's nothing we have to do in this space, but the clouds are getting darker. Sébastien Ogier keeps things nice and simple, ending in 4th gear on the inside of the hairpin. We can either slow down or brake to second, coast through, and then get up to speed on the other side. So I think we'll probably do that. Do I want to go flat out? It's the same set of dice that gave me 2 hazards on the last roll. Let's see if they do the same or worse on this one. Better, in fact, just the 1 hazard on 4th gear as we pass whatever animal exists around Monte Carlo. Perhaps it was an over-eager fan trying to get a photo. Please don't be doing that. Next round then, it is Thierry to extend his lead, although the clock might have said otherwise with the route that he has taken. So he is going to have to go through a shortcut. If we have him go through like that, we can then have him speed away into 6th gear to end his turn. His shortcut token is a -1 on the speed limit, and that only applies on that second corner. Is he unlucky at the end of his turn? He is not. He manages to get into 6th gear. Sébastien Ogier is in 4th gear. Has nothing to worry about apart from a 5th gear hazard, so that is effectively nothing to worry about. He is going to break down on the inside in 2nd gear. He can coast through, but then he'd be stuck in 3rd gear like that. So instead, he wants to get up through the gears. He could get up to 6th, could he? 2nd, 3rd, coast, 4th, 5th, into 6th, and he can go around the outside like that as he shows us how it is done. We are in 4th gear, and I think the dice that I'm going to use look awfully familiar. Do I want to go flat out on them? I certainly do. I need to keep up with the champions ahead, and 2 hazards, 1 on gear 3, 1 on gear 4. Not enough to lose control, but it is getting closer. I can sense it. Thierry is just 1 space short of the finish line in 6th gear, so no weather check for crossing the finish line just yet. Sébastien Ogier also slows down for the tricky start to the final sector, a 1st gear finish for him. We want to break down into 2nd gear, and I think we want to do something a bit different. Do we want to go into 3rd there, and then potentially go 1st, coast, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then somewhere over here? So that would be, let's see, 50 seconds for us to do that, versus 10 plus 50 for a whole minute for Sébastien to go up to 6th and then down to 1st to go there. So I think this will be our plan. We're still going to go flat out. Those are a safe set of dice. Of course, that is famous last words. 2 hazards and puts us here in 3rd gear. Thierry crosses the finish line, and the weather check is an 8, meaning 1 space of movement towards wet conditions. It has landed on space 6, which has the fog attribute, meaning that the rest of us have our loss of control limits reduced by 1 until the fog has lifted. And that will only happen if the weather gets warmer, so it's not looking good for going flat out anymore. Sébastien has an easy turn to end in 6th, and makes the corner even muddier with a trip through the shortcut. We are in 3rd gear, and we wanted to end in 4th gear, somewhere over here, to give us a better chance at catching up with these champions. I, unfortunately, have encountered fog, which means our loss of control limit is now 2 hazards instead of 3. So we're going to go 1 by 1 and spend some of these seconds as and when we need to. That's 1 hazard on gear 2. We're going to risk the coast die. We're going to risk this coast die. And we are absolutely going to chicken out and pay for those 2 dice. So that is 3 seconds spent in order to secure a 4th gear finish. Ogier can cross the line this turn in 6th gear, the fog proving no problem for him, which means that we are the only car left on stage and we've got 2 shortcuts to navigate through. So let's plan something like this. 3, 4, 5, 6. I would very much like to get all the way down there, but with this hazard limit things might come undone. We are good through the first shortcut. Let's see what we pull. That is okay. Our coast die is good. Our coast through the next shortcut is also good. It is a loss of a coast die, so we have taken damage through this tricky shortcut. Gear 3 then is good. Gear 4 is our first hazard. Again, I'm going to chicken out, pay for these final 2 dice. Another 3 seconds gets spent in order to secure a 6th gear finish. The coast die damage meant that we too were 1 space short of finishing on the next turn, but eventually crossed the finish line to record our final stage time and then check the weather for being the final car to finish a stage. The die moves 1 space closer to a wet race and therefore 1 space further away from this fog clearing up. It is the Monty Master Sebastian Ogier who leads with 2 minutes 47 on the clock, but we're not too far behind with a time of 2 minutes 50, and Thierry is still in with a chance, sitting in 3rd with 3 minutes and 4. Let's see what stage 2 brings. Sebastian Ogier has rolled for Great Grip, allowing him to swap leader dice for coast dice, but I don't think he'll need to use that unless the weather gets worse. Speaking of the weather, the very first die he places down will be a die in a new sector of the rally. So the weather is checked and it may be starting to clear up as it moves 1 space back towards sunshine. The fog will not burn off until we can see some of that sun, so going flat out is still a risk with those reduced loss of control limits. Ogier keeps his speed up through the first corner while we crawl up to the start line. We've chosen to repair our coast die damage in between stages by using our spare tyre card, and our stage life roll was Shortcut Splatter. We drew a mud token on this occasion, but with so few corners with shortcuts, it will only get applied if a coin flip says so, and it doesn't, so it wasn't. So no splatter for anyone today. As safe a flat out roll as I could puts me here in 3rd gear. Ogier goes through the shortcut to finish in 5th gear right before the next weather check, and we opt for a different line through the next few tiles. We are in 3rd gear then. We want to break down to 1st gear, and we want to get up as high as we can into 4th gear like that. Is the best we can do. Going to roll those 1 by 1 to see how far we get thanks to this fog. 1 hazard on the break die is not the best of starts. 1 hazard on a coast die is not the best either. We are losing control in 1st gear. We are going to take a Gear 1 time card to see what we pull. We have luckily drawn a Sisu. We finish in 1st gear after 50 seconds. Not quite what I wanted, but I guess that's 10 seconds quicker than ending in Gear 0. It gives Thierry a chance to catch up. He too has used his spare tyre in between stages, and his stage life roll has resulted in handy hooning, which is useless on this stage as there are no slide spaces in which to perform a handbrake turn. So no showing off for Thierry today. He finishes in 4th gear. Sebastian starts his turn with a weather check, which again inches closer to the sunnier side of the chart. We're now 1 space away from this fog burning off. Ogier drifts around the hairpin to finish in 3rd. Knowing that losing control on a red tile means retiring, having gone off a cliff, I am going to roll these 1 by 1 to make sure we get as far through it as we can safely. It looks like I could have gone flat out, as is the way. I absolutely could have. We finish in 5th gear. Thierry behind finishes in 3rd, and next round Sebastian ahead finishes in 5th. A bit of a risky flat out around the hairpin sees us finish in 3rd gear, and Thierry takes to the shortcut to finish in 5th gear, doing what we couldn't do when we tried that route through the corner ourselves. At what speed ought you approach a double hairpin? Quite fast, thinks Sebastian Ogier, as he finishes another turn in 5th to keep the time down, clearly committed to going through the shortcuts next turn. What can we do from 3rd gear? I think we are going to coast, 2nd, 3rd, and then 4th. I don't want to risk anything else, but I am going to risk these. We are still in foggy conditions, so 2 hazards would be bad. 1 hazard is good, and we can see the leader ahead. Thierry takes the faster route through the hairpin to finish in 3rd. Sebastian Ogier to tackle the double hairpin. If he breaks down to 3rd there, he will only make it through 1 of them. So I think he's going to have to start in 5th, break down to 3rd through 1 shortcut, coast through the next, and then come out there. A 4th gear finish, but 2 shortcut tokens. The first of which is a change in weather. That's not a shortcut, but we will be rolling for a change in weather. It's okay for the first shortcut, and the second shortcut is another change in weather. We're going to keep drawing until we get a shortcut token. It is another okay, but we are rolling for the weather twice. So the first roll is a 9, which means we are moving it 2 spaces back. 1, 2, and the next roll is a 1, meaning we move it right back to where we were. A dark cloud rolled in, rolled right back out, and we carry on as if nothing happened. That's randomness for you. 4 spaces of weather movement, and still it's foggy. We slow down for the double hairpin with a safe flat out roll so as to not fall off a cliff, and Thierry speeds up before his next corner. Next round, Sebastian Ogier. He can definitely coast into 3rd, slam on the brakes to have a look at the weather, which is a 1. It's going 2 spaces further into the sun, which means it is now partly cloudy and we do not have to worry about the fog anymore. And Sebastian can continue his move into 2nd gear like that into the sliding spaces. Good news on the weather front there, but we can't necessarily go flat out immediately because of all these dangerous red tiles. We do not want to lose control if we can help it. We're going to avoid the shortcuts by going on the inside of each corner in 1st gear. That will allow us to get up to 5th gear before the next hairpin, assuming we get that far. We've got a lot of focus to pay for these dice. 1 hazard already on the brake die, 1 hazard on the coast die. So I'm going to risk the 2 for our 3rd hazard. 2 is good. I'm then going to pay for those dice, that is 6 seconds, in order to get us up to 5th gear. Our rally may have come undone were it not for the brightening weather there. A 5th gear finish as we look to claw back some time on the front runner. Thierry follows our line into the double hairpin. On the snow, we do not have brake dice, so Sebastian is going to show us how to slide around this first hairpin. Should be pretty easy for him because he's in 2nd gear. That one also gets re-rolled, which means he can go into 1st on the inside, and then he can get all the way out and reach the lofty heights of 6th gear. From there, it was largely a game of follow the leader. The route through the tiles was fairly obvious, so everyone did the same thing successfully, even with a reduced loss of control limit thanks to asphalt tyres on snow. It's worth noting that 2 of these snow tiles replace some tiles from the climb expansion, so should you have that and run the stage as Bart intended, the end of your runs through it will probably look rather different. As the last car crossed the finish line, the sun was finally shining down upon us all, the fog nothing but a memory of the first leg, unless overnight conditions got worse. Sebastian Ogier maintains his lead. The fastest stage time of the 3 of us once again results in his total time so far being 5 minutes and 51. Thierry was just 11 seconds behind, but still has to find half a minute to overcome Ogier's overall lead. Our spin cost us, even with a Sisu, we finished a full minute behind the leader, and our total time plummets to 6 minutes 54, meaning we need some sort of miracle tomorrow. It's a lovely warm day. Let's see what the final stage has in store for us. So the overnight conditions are hotter than we imagined, and that has turned all of the snow tiles into slush, and they are effectively dirt tiles from here on out. And the asphalt is awfully hot, which means we have one fewer coast die when on the asphalt until the clouds start to cover over this stage. If you're wondering what all these mud tokens are, that's the result of the dirty characteristic being applied to this stage. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a nightmare to navigate, but the vast majority of these corners are still accessible through the inside lane to allow for multiple racing lines. Sebastian Ogier has gambled on the snow tyres, which means he will be on leader dice for the first few tiles. He's also rolled for a wayward wheel on tile number 1, so through no fault of his own he will lose either a coast die or his recently replenished spare tyre during his very first turn of the stage. Now then, what's he going to do? He can only use 5 of his 6 gears. We're going to have him go into 3rd gear for sure. He has no brakes, so he doesn't want to get up to 5th gear. I don't think he wants to get up to 4th either. So he wants to place those 2 coast dice there. Of course, he can only place one of them, thanks to wayward wheel, unless he gets rid of his spare tyre. He's going to chuck his spare tyre out the boot, and that will be his first turn. I've forgotten to check the weather. Ogier has entered a new sector, and it doesn't change. It's still rather hot. Sebastian's next turn is rather forced thanks to the dirty corner. He finishes in 1st gear. And Thierry is desperate to show off handy hooning once again, but it's just not possible on these tiles. It's another stage life roll that we can forget about, and another 3rd gear finish ahead of the first corner. Ogier speeds out of the slush to a 5th gear finish, while Thierry follows in his tracks through the slow corners, and it's time for us to work out what we want to do. We've chosen to stick with the asphalt tyres, so it'll be a little trickier at the start and end of this stage, but we hope to make up time in the middle. Unfortunately, we too have rolled for a wayward wheel. I swear these are random based on what effects are available according to the hazards that we roll. We are losing a coast die or our spare tyre on tile number 3. So let's see what we can do. We are on leader dice with our asphalt tyres. So it's a little riskier for us to go into the corner at full pelt. But I think that's what we're going to do, because I like a focus pull, as I'm sure you know. So we're going to go flat out and hope for the best. 2 hazards. It is a loss of control limit of 2 on snow with these tyres, but remember that thanks to the slush effect, all rules regarding surfaces treat these tiles as gravel. So we have escaped a crash and finish in 3rd gear. Sebastian is lacking the coast dice he needs to make it around the hairpin, thanks to both his tyre choice and the effects of all this heat on the asphalt. So he decides to get as far through it as he can and ends in the middle in 1st gear, as Thierry hurtles down the straight in 5th. We're forced into a slow turn, and of course our wayward wheel rules kick in on this tile, so we can either shorten our line and change our approach to the stage ahead, or throw the spare tyre card out and carry on. In this heat we need all the coast dice we can get, so out goes the spare tyre card. So Sebastian Ogier doesn't have any coast dice available to him. However, he is about to go through a gate to check for the weather, and if it gets any cloudier, then he will be able to get a coast die back thanks to changing conditions. We can only hope that is what happens. He's going to re-roll 5th gear, doesn't get rid of a hazard, isn't too concerned about it. So as soon as he goes into 4th gear, we're going to check the weather. We are hoping for a 9 or a 10, would be nice. We've got a 6. A 6 is no movement whatsoever. We are still on space number 2. As Sebastian Ogier gets up to 6th gear, Thierry Neuville is next to try his luck. Unfortunately for him, hazards on 2, 3, 4 and 5 means that he crashes at the end of this turn. Luckily the plan was to slow down to a stop in the hairpin anyway, so he's facing backwards in gear 0. We're in gear 1, which is lovely. It allows us to start in gear 1 like that, all the way up to 3rd gear, and then we can use one of our safer coast dice, 4, 5, 6. Now, we do have a brake die, but we're not going to be able to manage it from 6th gear. We could go 4, 3, 1, coast 2 on the next turn, so I think we're pretty good if we stick in 5th there. Of course we do have to get there first, and I'm going to go flat out. I am going to go flat out on these 6 dice, hoping for the best. We get 1 hazard on gear 1, nothing to worry about as we finish in 5th gear. Sebastian needs to slow down without any brakes, so all he does is hop over the jump and set himself up for the next corner, ending in 3rd. Thierry does the obvious and gets all the way up to 6th. We are going to go 5, 4, no we're not, we're going to go 4, 3, brake 1, coast and then 2. And I'm hoping that I can make up the time on this next section. Let's see what happens. Do I want to go flat out on those? I think I will. I think it's a bit of a gamble. I hope it pays off. 1 hazard on the coast die. It absolutely does pay off. We finish in 2nd gear, hopefully still within reach of the cars ahead. Sebastian is at this point not too happy with his tyre choice. He desperately wants the use of a coast die, but it's just too hot. The new Hankook tyres are throwing up some problems for the drivers. All he can do is finish in 3rd after the corner. Thierry can close the gap behind, but he is unlucky at the end of his turn and has drawn gear damage to add to his problems. We do have brakes. We can, in theory, get up there in 5th gear. I'm not sure that's wise. 4th gear there, 3rd gear, and then we would have to go 1st, 2nd, coast. I think we are going to do that. I think we're going to go flat out. 2 hazards on gears 1 and 2. That's getting quite scary, but we do manage it. We get up to 5th gear alongside Thierry Neuville, thanks to being on the right tyres for the job. On the wrong tyres is Sébastien Ogier, who has to take to the shortcut to get through the corner in 1 turn, but in doing so loses a valuable coast die, slowing him down even more. Cooler weather can't come soon enough, but if that happens, we all get the benefit of that restored coast die, so it's not looking good for the leader right now. Knowing that Thierry would end up blocking us over the next few turns thanks to his lack of dice, I opt to hog the corner and keep him behind me. I wonder who amongst you would consider this to be unsporting behaviour, blocking an opponent. I mean, I have just overtaken him. I've proved that I'm faster. I just need him to definitely stay behind me with regards to turn order. Ogier still can't make any significant forward progress as he stumbles into the hairpin in 2nd, but a confident flat-out roll through the shortcut without any issues allows us to end our turn right behind him in 4th gear. Can we overtake both our opponents in this stage? Thierry, knowing how difficult this section of the stage is, has little choice but to end in 1st gear. Sebastian Ogier to get through this hairpin, and, importantly, to check the weather as soon as he puts down gear 4. And hopefully the clouds are coming in. I really want a 9 or a 10. It is a 9. We move 2 spaces, 1, 2. We're on space number 3, which is a sunny day. And importantly, it is cool enough so that our tyres are back in their operating temperature. So we do not have to worry about the loss of a coast die anymore, except of course for any damage that we have sustained. So Seb still doesn't have a coast die on the asphalt. He will have one on the snow, however. So let's get him there. He can go into 5th gear. He will also have brakes on the snow. So no, he won't, because it acts like gravel. He can get up to 6th and then slow down through the corners. No, he can't even do that because he is the leader, and that is his 6th gear. He can only place 5 gears on the snow. So he is stuck there in 5th gear, right before the snow. We are going to hope to get into 6th gear on the snow. We haven't used gear 1, which means we do have the ability to reach 6th gear with 5 gear dice. So I think that is our plan. We are going to therefore roll 1 by 1, and I want to maximise our distance. We have 1 hazard on a break. Coasting is good. Gear 3 is good. Gear 4 is our 2nd hazard. So I think we will pay 3 seconds in order to secure these 2 dice. That will put us into 6th gear. And now, of course, we just have to keep it on the road as we go through the slush of the snow. The cloud cover gives Thierry a coast die back, but his snow tyres aren't suited for this asphalt surface, so the best he can do is cut through the corner and end in 2nd, spraying more mud as he does so. There's a lot of sliding over these next few slushy tiles, and some early hazards mean that I cut my turn short and end in 3rd gear. Sebastian does what he can on his snow tyres to finish in 4th, and Thierry makes it all the way up to 5th and starts to catch up to the rest of us. Over the next few turns, the gap between us got smaller and smaller, and we end up crossing the finish line one after another without incident, but who did so in the quickest time? If you overtake 2 cars who started before you, chances are you came home with the quickest time, and with 4 minutes 21 on the clock, that is true. Unfortunately for the experts, the wrong tyres for the weather have cost them dearly. Thierry Neuville manages the 2nd fastest time of 5 minutes 57, with Sebastian Ogier crossing the line after 6 minutes and 9, meaning that our final Rallye Monte-Carlo time of 11 minutes 15 is close to a minute ahead of 2nd placed Sebastian's 12 minutes and 8, Thierry not too far behind with 12 minutes and 16. In a very unexpected turn of events then, it seems I am the best driver after all. I've said in the past that variant rules ought to be as simple as the standard set of rules that get the game up and running in the first place, and that we shouldn't get bogged down in needless detail if it has the potential to slow the game to a crawl. I'd like to think that Stage Life version 2 holds true to those words, but the more of its ideas you include, well, the more detailed and perhaps fiddly it all gets when trying to keep track of what is going on, especially if you're juggling multiple NPCs as a solo gamer as well. What I can say is that I've never ummed and ahed so much over tyre choice as I did before that final stage. Every driver knew that it was going to be a hot day and that the snow would be slushy, but trying to work out whether snow or asphalt tyres are the better choice for what the weather rules consider gravel is a decision that I bet a great many players have never thought about. Stage Life challenges you to deal with situations that you won't have encountered in Rallyman, and can do so in different ways thanks to being able to pick and choose which bits of the rules you want to apply. As someone who strives for a good story in my gaming and who doesn't necessarily want to do the same thing game after game, any amount of randomness that lets me test my skills is welcome, and Stage Life is full of it. But thanks to the Monte Carlo expansion gobbling up a bunch of expansions all in one place, let's not forget that the contents of these Rallyman boxes before any community content is applied can offer you an awful lot of possibilities too. I wonder how the R4s will fare along the cliff edge, though maybe I'll leave that for you to figure out.
Left 4 tight.